Today we are talking about finding the time to exercise, finding the time to train, and finding the time to make your fitness habits stick. My name is Brian Pickowicz. I'm a fitness and lifestyle coach, and I focus on helping people see amazing results while also implementing new lifestyle habits that allow their results to last. And when it comes to time, I think that each one of us, myself included, has our own challenge in relationship with time. We all have obligations, we all have responsibilities, and we have things that pull at our attention constantly. And if you're trying to change a major aspect of your life, which fitness and health really is a major aspect of all of our lives, especially when we're trying to shift our relationship with it, it can be a real challenge. It can be a struggle. It can be daunting at times. And my point with this video and my goal with this video is to give you 8 simple tips, practices, and strategies that will help you not only find more time, create more time, but become more effective with your time too. Because when we learn how to manage our time, it makes it so much easier for us to actually follow through on the simple daily actions that we want to take in order to improve our fitness, our body, and ultimately our lifestyle. And so when it comes to time, I find that there are 2 main categories that people struggle with, and there's 2 main causes for the struggle. Now, obviously, you might have a lot of priorities, you might have a myriad of things that are on your plate, but I'm not going to dive down the rabbit hole of saying you need to get your priorities straight, because that's almost inherent. If you have a hard time prioritizing things, then it's going to fall down to the categories of what we actually dive in this video when it comes to productivity, how you're starting your day, and how you're categorizing your daily actions. But what I also find is that there's really 2 buckets that people can put themselves into when it comes to finding time. The first one is not understanding how much time they actually need. So lacking clarity, lacking consistency on the vision of what they want to build. And then the second thing is not being able to manage your time, not being able to have a strategic plan in place on a daily basis that keeps you consistent and allows you to have some sense of certainty on what your day is going to look like. Now, when we talk about these 8 tips, the first one is the most important, and that is gain clarity and ultimately define your time. Now, what does that mean? That means if you're someone who's saying, I don't have the time, the first thing I want you to do is write out how much time you think you need. How much time do you think you need in order to reach your goals, in order to see the progress you want, in order to feel good about what you're doing? Is it an hour a week? Is it an hour every day? Do you believe you have to train 6 days a week in order to see progress? Or do you feel like you have to be all in, and if you are judging how much time you can actually put into it, you're like, I know that I could see 4 days, but I know if I do 6 days, it's going to be much better and it'll be faster. I want you to think about that for a second, because once we have an idea of what we're expecting from ourselves, the next point is to have an honest conversation about how much time you can commit to this. Because if you say, okay, I think that I need to do 5 hours a week, 5 days of an hour, and maybe there's like another 15 minutes of travel every day. So maybe it's 6 hours a week. And you're like, okay, well, I know that I can commit to 3 days of an hour. That's what I could commit to. Or I could commit to 15 minutes 3 days a week. I could commit to 45 minutes 3 days a week. Whatever it is that you can actually commit to, make a note of that, because that's okay. When we start to see that we want to lose weight, the tendency is to throw all of our leverage, all of our efforts behind that task. But if you're trying to lose weight, it's going to shift the quality of your life, but it is not your life. You have responsibilities, you have a career, you have family, you have children, you have a relationship. Fitness should be something that enhances everything else rather than takes away from it. So it's about balancing and finding the equal point where it's getting the most out of what you're putting into it without taking away from everything else. And if you're someone who's watching and saying, well, I can commit a lot of time to this, then kudos, amazing. Then you were in a perfect spot to see great progress. But if you're someone who's challenged with time, just pull back and ask yourself, how much can you realistically commit to this? Because then you have a strategy that you can put in place. Because if you can only commit half an hour, maybe half an hour 3 days a week, then your workouts will be half an hour. And then you can structure your workouts. Your trainer can structure your workouts. But the first point on time is to lower the bar almost. Lower the bar so it's something you can hit. And once you start to hit it consistently, then you can start to shift what you're doing and makes it a lot easier long term. Now, the second point is establish a morning routine. I made a video about this a couple weeks ago, but a morning routine is one of the most essential ways to improve your effectiveness long term. Now, when we talk about effectiveness, I like to talk about effectiveness over productivity and efficiency. Productivity is something that a lot of people throw around, like, oh, I want to be more productive. And the truth is that it's okay to be more productive if you're starting from scratch, but productivity is not the end-all be-all. Productivity essentially means that you are able to do a lot of tasks in an overall general time period. So productivity is like, okay, today I did a lot of things, but it doesn't mean you did a lot of things that were important. Sometimes scrolling through Facebook might be productive, but is it effective? Depends on what your goals are. Depends on what you actually need. Sometimes it might be productive to go grocery shopping, but it also might have been more effective to get some sleep. You know, there's a lot of different things that we don't necessarily understand when it comes to productivity, because productivity means everything's equal. And that's not true. When it comes to what we actually have to do, then we look at efficiency. Efficiency is how fast we're able to get done those certain amounts of things. So if you had 100 things to do and you got those 100 things done, that'd be really productive. But if you got those 100 things done in an hour or a day, as opposed to a week, that would be more efficient. But what we really want to lean into is looking at effectiveness. And effectiveness is the ability to get done the most essential things, the most important things, in the shortest amount of time. And so the way the morning routine improves that is it allows you to establish the anchor for the rest of the day. So if you're someone who is challenged with training and you don't have the time to change, so if you're someone, let's scratch that, Kyle. So if you're someone who is struggling with training, you don't have the time to train, then it might be the most effective way for you to get progress by training in the morning, by having a morning routine that sets you up. Or it might be really effective for you to sit down every morning and journal out the 10 things or the 5 things that would make today a win. Personally, what I like to do is I make a list of the 7 things, the 5 to 7 things that are essential for the day. Now, it doesn't mean that I can only accomplish 5 to 7 things, or I'm only doing 5 to 7 things, but it's really about understanding what makes the day a win. What are the biggest things that if I hit them out of the park, everything else will come together? Because rather than spending my time chasing field mice, I think there's a saying that comes from, I heard Tim Ferriss say it, but it's better to chase the antelope than the field mice, because you can get distracted with a bunch of field mice. But if you focus on chasing the big thing, you're going to get a lot more done, and that's more effective. So if you look at what you're trying to do, you want to focus on what's the most effective, and having a morning routine will allow you to set that up, look at your day, and establish the most efficient and effective way for you to move throughout the rest of your time in this process. And then number 3 is focus on moving your body every day. Now, it doesn't seem like a lot, but a simple shift, if you're struggling with finding the time to train, is to improve how much movement you get throughout the day. So if you're someone who's like, oh, I can't train for an hour, it's like, okay, cool, can you take the stairs? Can you go for a walk? Recently, I had a client who was like, you know, I wasn't able to train that day, and I really wanted to get my movement in, so I decided to, I think she was staying at a hotel. She was going through a race. She races BMX, which is incredible. But she said that instead of taking the shuttle or the car to the restaurant, she decided to walk. And it was only like half a mile or whatever, but she decided to take her family and go for a walk. And she's like, that made me feel good. It was my movement. It was my day. I've had clients in the past who's like, hey, just focus on stretching in the morning. Now, why is that effective? It's effective because when we think about moving our body, it aligns us for the rest of the decisions that we're going to make throughout the day. If you move your body, you change your state. And when you change your state, it allows you to redirect your focus. And obviously there's benefits to it. It's going to affect your gut health, it's going to affect your mobility, it's going to improve the synovial fluid in your discs if you're someone who has poor posture or bad back. But those things aren't as important as this. How are you thinking about the day? And when we get our body in motion, we tend to make different decisions. We make better decisions. And so one of the focus points, if you can't have the time to train, or if you don't have the time to train, then just focus on moving your body when you can, and everything else will come together when it is the right time. Now, the next point, number 4, is to schedule an appointment with yourself. So a lot of times we look at training as just something that we have to do. It's an obligation. Oh, I am overweight and now I need to lose weight and I got to go to the gym. And it's this like daunting task that we don't need to put all this emotional baggage onto. And one of the ways that you can remove or distance yourself from that feeling is to treat it like an appointment with yourself. So if you schedule an appointment with your dentist or your doctor, you're probably going to follow through, right? Probably going to follow through. If you have an appointment with a colleague or to go meet a potential client or something of the like, maybe it's a date with a spouse, you're going to follow through. And what we need to shift to, or one of the most effective ways to shift to that same mindset for ourselves, is to schedule our time with ourselves. So if you use Google Calendar, set up your schedule with yourself. For me, I schedule my workouts every single week. They're in their box. I have that hour and 15 minutes blocked off. And then the night before, I readjust it to make sure it fits my plan. And Google Calendar is an amazing way to improve effectiveness and overall productivity throughout the week. But having an appointment with ourselves allows us to follow through, because then we're owning that we had an obligation to ourselves. And it's really challenging to carve that space out, especially when you have other things that are distracting or pulling at you. So treat yourself the same way you would someone else. Treat yourself with the same amount of respect that you would a colleague, a dentist, a doctor, and just show up. Show up in the simplest way, and everything else will come together too. Now, if you're someone who is struggling with time and you're like, well, I get done the end of the day and I have no idea where my time is, point number 5 is for you. I want you to audit your day. So just take a simple note card. I don't have one with me, but take a simple note card and write down what you're doing throughout the day, hour to hour, half an hour to half an hour, whatever it is that you feel like is essential for your day, write it down. How much time did it take you to drive to work? How much time did you spend at work? What were you doing at work? Were you wasting time? Could you have gotten out of work an hour early, but you decided to carry it on and just make it worse because you're like, oh, well, I want to be here for the 8 hours. Maybe you could have gotten out half an hour earlier that day. Maybe you're spending time on energy wasters like social media or complaining or watching TV, or maybe you're just wasting half an hour that you didn't realize was seeping out of the day. Or maybe you don't have any time at all. But if you audit your day, then you get clarity. And with any of these different strategies, when we're not sure how to solve it, the most important thing we can do is get clarity, because you can't solve a problem that you don't identify. And until the problem is identified, nothing is going to follow through. So audit your day, schedule out, okay, hey, what am I doing this day? What did I actually do? And just compare where your time went, and then ask yourself a simple question: how could I improve tomorrow? Now, how can I be perfect, but where can I carve out a little bit more time for myself to exercise, and what do I have to follow through on? And then number 6, this is something that's been coming up a lot for me in the Fitness Project, which is the group coaching program that me and my fiance run, and some other coaching calls that I've been having with my one-on-one consulting clients. And delete energy wasters from your life. Now, I know how easy it is to get sucked into the rabbit hole of social media. As someone who has spent a tremendous amount of time building an online presence over the last few years, that is where I have been, especially on Facebook and Instagram. And it's awful. It like drains your spirit, it drains your time, it is an energy waster, and it defeats any momentum that you have. So if you're someone who sees that they're spending an hour on social media, 30 minutes on social media, that's time that you don't get back. And so one easy habit to do is to delete your app. Delete Facebook, delete Instagram, delete TikTok, delete Twitter, delete the things that don't bring you joy. It doesn't mean you have to get rid of them, but for me, I add the apps when I'm going to post or when I want to engage, and then I delete them. I forget about them for the day because they don't help me. They don't help me connect with people. They don't help me help people. They don't give me any joy unless I'm connecting with people in an authentic way. And when I'm really trying to be effective it's the most important that I'm focused. And so deleting apps is a really easy way. Also, schedule your time for when you want to have social media consumption or when you want to watch Netflix. Don't allow a Netflix session turn into a Netflix binge and just lead you down the wrong path when you know that there's things you want to do. Or a better way to also look at it is, if you are going to consume content, if you're going to be on Netflix, make sure your training's done beforehand. So one thing I had a client do one time is write on a note card what his 3 things that needed to be done were in order for him to watch Netflix, because he had a hard time breaking from binge watching. And after he did that note card, it was so much easier. He's like, okay, I need to read for 15 minutes, I need to make sure that I stretch that day, and the dishes have to be done. 3 simple things. Took him an extra half hour some days. But if it's 8 o'clock, then instead of sitting down from 8 to 10, he's there from 8:30, 8:45 to 10, and it creates momentum for that process. So look at the energy wasters, delete them out of your life, and also be mindful about the energy wasters in your space, in your mind, and in your environment, because it's easy to allow the wrong people to take our time, which is another topic for another time, but be mindful about the people that are in your space and focus on how you can shift that relationship. And number 7, take responsibility. Take responsibility for changing your priorities. Now, one of the things that I talk a lot about is what I would say over the top motivation. So you need to take responsibility. You need to do this, but that's the truth. I can give you all the strategies. I can show you exactly how to do it, but until you take responsibility, or until we all take responsibility, because there's things that I've had to take responsibility for, there's things I still have to take responsibility for. I'm showing up on this video. I need to take responsibility to do that. But until we take responsibility to change something, then it will never change. And you can throw a million strategies at a problem, but if you are not taking the responsibility to change them, it's like almost looking at a diet. If you are eating keto, and you're like, oh, well, keto is going to help me lose weight, but you're not taking responsibility to track your food, you're not taking responsibility to look at your overall daily consumption, you're not taking responsibility to move your body, you're not taking responsibility on how consistent you are, so you're having days where you're eating carbs and you're not eating carbs, and you're just kind of half-assing the work that you need to put in, then it's just not going to work. And that's okay, meaning it's okay to have moments where things do not go perfect. It's not about beating yourself up and be like, oh, I need to go all in. But you need to take responsibility. Taking responsibility and being perfect are 2 totally different subjects. And so if you take responsibility for solving the problem, then you actually stand a fighting chance at solving it. And so taking responsibility that this journey that is about your health and your body and the things that you want to produce for yourself, if you take that responsibility and you say, hey, I'm going to do this, great, then you win. You might not be there tomorrow, but you will be there in time. And that is one of the most important things I think that any of us can focus on, no matter what our goals are. And then the last point is put yourself in the arena. So if you are someone who is challenged with time, and you're like, I can't find time to go to the gym, but I drive by the gym every single day, the first thing I want you to do is just go into the gym. I want you to literally walk in and then walk out. Walk in, walk out. Why? Because you're in the arena. You're in the arena. You're showing up. And if you show up, then you're eventually going to be in a position where you have more time and you can follow through. And it's about building the habit to then take the action. It's not about putting it all together if you can't. And the reason why it's important to put yourself in the gym rather than putting yourself in the gym for the hour is because if you are struggling to find an hour and you're going to try to willpower your way through the hour, the chances of it being something that sticks, it's not very likely. And it's important that each one of us sees where we're at in our journey. Each one of us has our own challenges, has our own struggles, has our own life. And so if you're someone who is challenged with time, just put yourself in the arena. Put yourself in the gym, show up, and if you can do 15 minutes, amazing. That's great. If you can do an hour, awesome. But you're better off to just show up in the parking lot, put yourself there, build that habit and routine of being there, and seeing how that creates waves everywhere else. It's the same way as daily movement. You show up at the gym, how do you think your nutrition is going to be? How do you think your relationship with yourself is going to be? How do you think your relationship with other people is going to be? It's a simple solution. It sounds like it's not going to work, but I can promise that by just having that simple action of being in the arena, being at the gym, being where you know you want to be, it's going to shift things in a massive way. And you'll end up having the space eventually, and then it's so much easier to follow through. So these are the 8 tips for you to have more time. I appreciate you spending 20 minutes watching this when you didn't have the time to begin with. But I hope this video was helpful. I wanted you to comment below. Let me know what is the most helpful tip from this video that you're going to implement into your life, into your journey, into everything you're doing right now with your fitness and health. And above all else, thank you for being here. My name is Brian Pickowicz. Just a reminder to keep your pace and to be a light. I'll see you.